So just a couple quick questions. One, where have you come from today to attend this year's conference?
I came from Winnipeg.
Winnipeg. You come in just today?
No, I came in on Saturday and spent time with Robert, who's on the organizing committee. We went canoeing on the Harrison River to see the salmon run.
Oh, right on.
So that was pretty great. So we spent like 7 hours in a canoe.
Yeah.
It was great.
Oh,
Good way to get to know someone.
That's right.
yeah.
Yeah, and I'd met him a couple times at other conferences. So in Winnipeg.
So I guess it's you that we have to thank for the good weather that we've got this.
That's right.
time of year.
That's right. Every time the Rogalskys come to Winnipeg or to Vancouver, the weather turns nice.
Perfect. I have to remember that.
Yes, if you have a wedding or anything, just let us know. Fly us up.
Perfect. So tell me your story. Why and how did you get into Agile?
I got into Agile because I was put on a project that was already ongoing. Somebody quit, and I took their place in a kind of one of the leadership roles. And it was supposed to be an Agile project using lots of the lean stuff. But it had a very loose definition of Agile, kind of the get stuff done, open bandwidth communication, not a lot of structure. And so that project did not go all that well. And that drove me to then look for how do we actually do this the right way? If Agile is a good idea and people are saying it is, what does it look like? What are all the things we did wrong? And how can I improve on the next one? And so that search, I tell the story that I've probably listened to just about every Agile podcast that exists on the internet. So hearing both the good side of Agile and the bad side, what people like about it, what they don't, the people who say it's just all about consultants and they're just trying to make money versus here's a real life story of how it's worked for me and what that looks like. And taking all that knowledge in was a lot of fun, and then trying to apply it and trying to pick and choose, okay, if we're going to do real Agile on the next project, what would that look like? What practices should we introduce? What practices are important? What are the kind of ones that are the mandatories versus the things that you can probably do a little less deep in order to let the change happen? And that's kind of where I went. And that first project after that failure project, and when I say failure, it's by some criteria it succeeded. We delivered. It's software that's being used, but we had to take a lot of write-offs. We had to do some work for free because we knew we could have done better, and the client wasn't exceedingly happy about the result, although they are using it. So we had a strong team with a bad process, essentially. So the next project, we started using some of these things. One of the most significant things we did was adding automated testing using fitness. And you could then see our defect count go from hundreds and hundreds into less than 10. So, right, and I did a little metric, and there was a 1,600% improvement in defects, right?
Wow.
So when you get those kind of results, you get really excited, and then you start researching all kinds of things, and then you start applying it at home, and you have Kanban systems on your kitchen cupboards, and you plan Mother's Day with your kids using Kanban, and you see them doing this one-piece flow, and like, well, this actually works. And then you start doing presentations and talking to people, and you use Kanban for your presentations, and you see how this works, and you start testing the ideas, and you test them more at work, and then it spreads to the marketing group, and then it spreads to the sales group, right? And suddenly, you kind of fall in love with it.
Yeah. No, makes sense.
Right.
Perfect. And why did you choose the topic you did to speak on at this year's conference?
The topic I chose is called Failing Slow and Other Redemptive Stories. And I chose that topic because, while certainly I believe strongly in fail fast, so by saying fail slow, that shouldn't get me kicked out of the Agilist Club. But whenever we talk about fail fast, and that's what we want, that's a great thing to do. My own story that I just described was triggered by a slow failure. A 6 to 8 month project that didn't go very well. We had lots of things wrong. We didn't know what we were doing wrong. Right? We're doing our best. We're working lots of overtime. We had lots of quality issues, all those negative things. That project triggered my switch to wholeheartedly adopting Agile. So there's a slow failure that happened. And as I talk to other groups in Winnipeg, we've started an Agile Winnipeg user group, and we have lots of open communication between groups. We have lots of fishbowls at the end of our events where we share these kind of stories and talk about them. Lots of other teams had the same thing, that what triggered their Agile transition was this long, painful project. Sometimes the length would be a year, sometimes the length would be even a of several months. But there was a big pain that happened, something really painful, that said, okay, we're ready to now jump on board and try something else and look for something better. And so then I started looking about the research. I have a brother-in-law who's a psychologist, and so he did some research in in their big category of their library of studies, pulling out organizational change studies and stuff, and to see how those map to my story. And it turns out there's lots of correlation between how organizations change and are willing to change based on how much they fail, which seems kind of backwards. The successful organizations actually improve and innovate less. The organizations that have more failures, and the greater the failure, the greater they will learn and improve over time.
The bigger the pain.
Yes. Yeah. So then you put all that together, that failing slow as an initial thing to transition you to Agile is extremely, can be a really effective thing. You don't have to, if you're in that death march project, in that project where you're going nuts and you're ready to quit, that just might be the project that turns your team in a better direction, and suddenly you've got cross-functional teams and you've got high quality and all those things, and you're happy again.
Yeah.
So that's where the talk came from.
Okay, perfect, thank you. And one of the themes of this year's conference is hunting agile elephants.
Right.
Can you give me an example of an elephant that you found to challenge an organization?
I think the big elephant is the Agile adoption path, right? That's the one, as soon as people start to say, yes, I agree, Agile is great. But now how do I get my organization to do it, right? So I don't know that it's the difficult part of Agile. Actually implementing some of the practices isn't all that difficult. Putting a visual board on the wall is pretty simple, but getting a team to agree to be self-organized, to be deliver frequently, to improve their quality using automated testing, those things are hard. And I guess the elephants that I'm addressing are also about the Agile community censoring some of those failures to say, well, you failed because you weren't good enough, and so we're censoring that failure because you weren't good enough, and we're censoring that failure because it harms our commercial interest as an Agile company or an Agile coach or an Agile tool. We don't want to know about those failures, but in reality, you want to publish those failures because those are the ones we learn from the most. And the Agile as itself is built that way, right? You plan waterfall, plans failure out, or tries to. Agile says we're going to test for failure every day, every time we check in, every CI integration, all those things, and we're going to learn from those failures and improve, right? We're doing demos all the time, we're getting our customers to look at things all the time. So instead of censoring the failures, we're taking that failure and learning from it as fast as we can, and that's where the fail fast part comes in. So if we are censoring Agile adoption failures, we're actually being un-Agile.
I suppose you're right. Perfect. And can you tell me a success story where you've seen an organization overcome an elephant in the room?
So now you have to come to my talk because it's for my story plus 3 other stories from Winnipeg, they starting with this big project failure and then saying, okay, let's try something else. And as a community, we have done a lot of things together to share our stories, and that has triggered a bunch of the changes. Like we do a presentation on planning poker, and some team goes back and says, we're going to try that because our estimates suck right now, so we can't get any worse, let's go try it as an organization. And suddenly you come back and they tell their story of how they tried it. Our team ownership of estimates is improved. Our customers and marketing group get what estimates mean, and they're involved in the estimating, and they understand what it's like. And that's just one trigger, and suddenly they're trying paired programming, right? And it's just like this crazy thing. And so the Agile community in Winnipeg has triggered a lot of those changes. So there are 4 stories of going from either no process at all or traditional waterfall to we can deploy anytime we want, we can run our CI, we have happy customers, our velocity is increased, we have confidence in our solution, and we enjoy coming to work. We don't have silos anymore, we have cross-functional teams, like really great success stories.
Yeah.
Great.
That sounds great.
And now you can just show this video tomorrow at 1:30, and that's all the whole talk. It's like a TED version of it.
So we've got it all. Well,
Yes.
thank you so much for your time today, Steve.
You're welcome.
Super.